Hey Storytellers, this is Joshua, and I want to talk to you about an interesting aspect of how the story weaving strategy works. If you don't know what the story weaving strategy is, just briefly, it is a process that helps storytellers to let go of their addiction to telling stories from the rational mind and instead tell stories from a deeper place in order to create transformation in themselves and in their audience. I like to say that if a story doesn't transform the storyteller, it sure as hell isn't going to transform the audience. So, in today's video, which I call The Curse of the Unfeeling Storyteller, the point here is that being in a rational mind is a defense mechanism against feeling. And that doesn't mean that we should be lost in our emotions, but it also is pointing to the fact that we should not be lost in the rational mind. An imbalance, which causes a fixation, means that we lack freedom. In the Toltec teachings, a worldview is toxic. If we have a fixed worldview, we are self-sabotaging. Somebody who has fluidity of their perspective, which means that their perspective can be assembled in different ways. Their perspective, their perception can be assembled in different shapes at will. That's called fluidity. That is freedom. This is what spiritual enlightenment is the complete and total fluidity of our perception. So if somebody doesn't have that fluidity, they are stuck in some way. And if you think of like an emotional trigger, if somebody is avoiding their emotional triggers, they are also avoiding their fluidity. If somebody is afraid of their emotional triggers, they are afraid of the assemblage of their perception changing. So that means that the curse of the unfeeling storyteller is when a storyteller is themselves not available to the changing of the perception. Feelings, our energy, feelings are energy. When we are in touch with our energy, we are in touch with how our perception is assembled. If we're afraid of our energy, we're afraid of seeing. We're afraid of seeing how our perception is assembled. And so if a storyteller, which could be a filmmaker, a novelist, public speaker, if they are hyper-rational and they're fixated in their rational mind and they're afraid of feeling, then they are stuck. They are locked into a worldview. They're locked into a perspective. And this means that they have serious limitations on how much creativity can flow through them, how much wisdom can flow through them, how much strength, how much will can flow through them. And so that fixed perspective, it makes it impossible to transform. And if the storyteller is not allowing themselves to transform through their own story that they're telling, then why would their audience transform? Right? Somebody who is fixed in a worldview and is simply attempting to manipulate their audience into feeling something, ultimately their audience is not going to have a transformational experience in that story. They might remember it, or they might forget it. A transformational experience, a transformational story, will not be forgotten. And that's what I want for you, is to be able to tell a story that's memorable. I want you to be able to tell a story that bypasses the rational mind, because our memory, we forget what happens. Our memories are not that good, but we don't forget our transformations, because it shifts our perception so much that it's like being reborn. And people don't forget when they're reborn. People don't forget massive events, they forget small events. So, do you want your story to be a small event, or do you want your story to be a massive event? That's what this is about. So that's this video. I had fun talking about it. If you want more, you can check out the Story Weaving book, the Story Weaving course, my other videos. This is Joshua. Thanks for watching. Take care.